On today's episode, we talk about Christian Horner being fired from Red Bull Racing, pit crew altercations at Pocono, and Pato awards a 100th race start in IndyCar. We also have race recaps from Saturday and Sunday's races, and is Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull? All in today's episode. Let's get right into it. Hello, I am Alex, your host of ApexToOval. Next to me is Jack, my co-host on ApexToOval, and this is ApexToOval. We're here to bring you the racing updates, hot takes, and breaking stories from across the motorsports world. Let's get right into the first story. Apple TV poised to get the U.S. television rights to Formula One, offering $150 million per year starting in 2026. Now, ESPN has already said they're not going to be matching that, at least right now. And I have one thought and one thought only. As long as I can keep my F1 TV subscription in the U.S., I do not care where they broadcast it. Maybe they're as good as Amazon Prime was for NASCAR. Who knows?
I kind of doubt it based on how they've been for like baseball and some other broadcasts. But it does sound like they're keeping F1 TV, which basically makes it two paid streaming services, which is a little confusing because the point of getting it on ESPN and the point of a lot of F1's previous work with broadcasting stuff is trying to get it accessible. Um, like ESPN's co-broadcast was because they were kind of dying to break into the US. So it is interesting seeing them change like approaches like that.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I don't know how to fully feel. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Like, yeah, I don't really know. I don't have like I think fans will flock to it, but I don't know how many. You know, if it's going to be a private like ESPN Plus, but Apple TV Plus, if it's gonna be like that, where it's like behind a paywall, I don't know how many fans are gonna actually tune into the races. That's another concern that I have. Um, yeah, Jack, what is your news article for this week?
Christian Horner was fired or let go, but fired mid-season in the way that he likes to do to others. From Red Bull after a 20-year career, after 8 drivers' titles, 6 constructors' titles, which the fact that those numbers are like so off from each other is probably a sign, like it's kind of a theme for how his Red Bull tenure has gone. Um, but maybe a year or so later than a lot of people thought it would be, what with the previous controversy, but he's out from Red Bull.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited for this. I think that Horner should have been out 18 months ago. I think it was Matt and Tommy P1 their podcast. They literally said he should have been out 18 months ago, and I fully agree with them. Um, Horner had allegations against him that turned out to be true, and he was still not fired.
I know there was kind of an ongoing power struggle between him and a
Yes.
lot of the more technical people, or it's like the Austrian side versus the British side.
Well,
People have painted it
also
as. Um,
there were a lot of issues he had with Newey and with Wheatley, which caused
and with
them to
Marco,
leave.
who's still
With
there but
Marco,
was
who's still
threatening
there,
to leave.
but to be honest, Marco should already be gone. I don't know why he's still with them, but that's another issue.
That I agree with. Um, but yeah, there are a lot of people both still there and just about everyone notable who's left that butted heads with him at some point.
Yeah,
And at some point that falls on someone that's still there, right? And there's also the
yeah,
Max angle, which I think we have a bigger discussion about Max's future coming up.
yeah.
But there is some speculation that this has to do with that.
Yeah, I will say the speculation because I don't think it like matters too much to our discussion. But basically the speculation was either Max has already left and they want a fresh start, so they got rid of Horner, or they fired Horner to keep Max happy and at Red Bull. Those are the two
Yeah,
options that kind of played out.
because we know Max's family doesn't like Horner, but also if you lose Max friggin' Verstappen, someone's got to pay for that, and
Exactly.
he's the big guy. Well, was the big
Yeah.
guy.
On to NASCAR.
Yep.
Legacy Motors Club announced that their sponsorship with the Dollar Tree has been extended through 2028. Um, Glad they get more money. They've been doing pretty well. I think both drivers are in the top, I believe, 20, but they're not doing bad by any means, especially for a newer team on the grid. And they're always going to be improving. So I think the sponsorship is really good. So now that it's through 2028, I think they'll make some very good improvements to that car.
Yeah, and they're they had an agreement to purchase a charter from Rick Ware, and then there's all the lawsuit drama going on there. But like, they're doing much better than they have been. They're working on expanding, even if they've hit some kind of roadblocks there. And they're a team on the up and up. So it's good to see that they're not facing some unexpected sponsorship issues. And then the other NASCAR story for this week, from the race that actually just happened today, as we're recording this, is some drama on pit road. Ty Gibbs and Brad Keselowski, whose pit stalls were right next to each other, their pit crews got in a fight mid-race. Um, because as it turned out, when Ty Gibbs was entering his pit box, he cut a little close to the tire carrier for Brad Keselowski. So he managed to not hit the tire carrier himself, but he did hit one of the tires, which sent that flying. Those tires are heavy. That can definitely cause an injury, and it was close to hitting the guy himself. Um, and the delay both messed up the pit stop a little and caused him to almost get hit by Brad, who was on the way in right behind. So then another member of Brad's pit crew goes over to the Gibbs crew and starts kind of yelling at them, and they get themselves in a bit of a tussle.
Yeah, I also want to note that the tire carrier also, with the hit of the tire, twisted his wrists and hands. He is okay. And there were no repercussions for the number 54 for that incident, which I think was right. I think there was the right thing to do.
I was just going to say that both NASCAR and the broadcast booth agreed that Gibbs was kind of in the right for that. I think that there's definitely some room that they could have not made contact on Gibbs' side as well. But it was just a perfect storm of Gibbs taking that line to get perfectly in his box, and the tire carrier being, maybe a few inches too far off the wall.
On IndyCar, there were tornado warnings, and there was an actual tornado that was at Iowa Speedway for the IndyCar weekend. It cut off Friday's activities on track, but both races were still able to happen, thank God. And nobody got hurt from the tornado that was near the racetrack. So, okay.
And with the races actually happening on Saturday in the first race of the doubleheader, Pato O'Ward in his 100th start won. He is the sixth driver to win on exactly their 100th start, and this comes 50 races after he won in Iowa on his 50th start, which is pretty interesting.
Yes, he also has 8 total wins in his career in IndyCar, which is a nice number. Good winning percentage in the first 100 starts. So very excited to see what he can do in the future. Let's get into our race recaps. We have 3. We have the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Sonoma, the NASCAR Cup Series at Sonoma, and then technically we have 4, but IndyCar Race 1, IndyCar Race 2. Now, I watched part of the Xfinity Series at Sonoma, which just took place yesterday. I turned it on and watched from stage 2, from the start of stage 2 to the end. And Zilich won, held off SVG, and they had very clean racing the entire race. It was very fun to watch. And they're far away the best road coursers on the NASCAR, in any NASCAR series, Cup, Xfinity, or Trucks, or ARCA, too. So that was really fun race to watch. Zilich and SVG were getting a little scruffy at the end, with SVG trying to pass Zilich, but Zilich held strong and kept the lead.
And
And I did predict Zilich winning, so I got 1 for 1. We'll talk about my remaining picks in a bit, but
I will add on the getting scruffy that they were insanely respectful of each other the
oh
whole
yeah,
time. Like it
yeah,
was they each of them had a moment where they like wheel hopped on a curb or something like that, ran into the other, pushed them a little bit, and in both cases, like each of them backed out, let the other keep the position, and wanted to race for it legitimately. And like they were
hmm
close to each other all day, and at no point did they move them out of the way, do anything less than like perfectly clean racing. It was incredible to watch. I mean, it genuinely, like, despite the fact it was like an F1 race with the top two so far ahead of everyone else, but it was probably the best racing I've seen out of any of the NASCAR series this year.
yeah. I think those two are going to be a formidable force in the Cup in the near future, 100%.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
assuming Zilich is going to get the Daniel Suarez seat. So
It
yeah,
seems pretty much all but a done deal.
yep. Thank God. And then there's the Cup Series race at Sonoma. Your winner was SVG. I also predicted that correctly, but then again, why would you pick anyone else but Zilch and SVG at road courses? SVG dominated at Sonoma, winning his third road course in a row from pole, the first to do so since Jeff Gordon in 1989 and 1998 and 1999, when he won at Pocono, Indy, and Watkins Glen. Briscoe was fast as hell. He finished P2 and really was close to SVG for most of the race. And by close, I mean within 10 seconds. Um,
Which is a feat.
which is really, like, all things considered, really good. Um, Elliott gambled on tires, and it kind of paid off. He finished P3, so kind of paid off. He was looking for the win at the end, but a late caution did ruin any chance he had of moving up the field enough to get first. And McDowell's tire strategy paid off. I believe he stayed out the entire time, the entire second stint, or third.
No, he pitted with Elliott, I believe. Because his plan was he did pit at a caution during the third stage, and
Yeah,
then was trying to push it on fuel and get that advantage, but he had already been passed by SVG by that point. By the
okay.
time the caution of note came out with like 14, 15 to go.
Hmm.
And at that point he pitted alongside Chase Elliott and others. And with that tire advantage and a couple of restarts, was able to get up to P4.
Tyler Reddick, Ty Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, and Ty Gibbs are advancing to the final four for the NASCAR in-season tourney.
I just say that I think that this tournament is stupid.
I think it is too. If two, not,
Like,
like Gibbs, like here's the thing, Gibbs, fine, right? Like the dude's super fast on road courses, and we've had like two courses during the span of this in-season tournament. But Dillon and Nemechek, especially when Dillon knocked off Hamlin after Hamlin wrecked in a accident he could not avoid.
well,
What's the point?
and besides Gibbs and Priest having some, or no, it was Reddick and Priest, right?
Reddick and Priest faced off. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, having some intrigue, like it didn't matter. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't manifest itself on track. The seating was stupid. The execution is mostly stupid. We're now getting to the point where there are few enough matchups that it like you can kind of track it during the race, but even then, like it didn't add anything to the race today.
All I'm saying, Gibbs is going all the way. I do not care. Reddick is going down this week, and then Ty Dillon's going down the week after. That's all I gotta
Just
say.
you wait. Just you wait.
Just to
Ty
wait.
Dillon is
Ty
going to
Dillon,
go on a Linsanity run.
bro, he actually has already. He got the one seed down. I mean, yeah, Hamlin got into an unavoidable wreck, but he's still down the one seed. Like that's still pretty funny. And then he said afterward, "Hey, I beat your favorite. What was it? I beat your.
I beat your
I don't
favorite
even remember.
driver.
Oh yeah, I beat
Something
your
like
favorite
that.
driver." And then
Yeah.
because he beat Denny Hamlin, and that's Denny Hamlin's signature catchphrase at this point. And yeah, overall in-season tournaments dumb as hell. But you know what? At least someone's getting $1 million. Um,
Should have been me.
on to IndyCar. There are two races, one yesterday, one today. Yesterday, your winner was Pato Award. Penske was second, third, and fourth, and Newgarden couldn't quite get the win. I did to say Newgarden kind of deserved the win. He led damn near every lap towards the end, and well, every lap until the end, and a very bad pit stop from his end screwed him over his chances of winning. Had his pit stop gone smoothly, he wins this race. Um, Without a doubt. Pato was not able to keep up the entire race. Like, yeah, he was in a second. He was like half a second off every single lap, but he was not able to like even get close to Newgarden at all, even with lap traffic. So, yeah. And then Andretti looked awful out there, but yeah.
It's just this, and it's over the full weekend, but it was really apparent on Saturday just because it was kind of shocking, both in qualifying and then in the race itself. They just looked bad to the point where Kirkwood is now P4. Kirkwood is now fourth in the Drivers' Championship behind Pato Award and behind Scott Dixon,
Yeah.
where he came into this weekend second.
Yeah. This is
Um,
very dumb.
it was a very rough weekend for Andretti. Very tough time to have a doubleheader.
Also, very tough weekend for Nolan Siegel, who crashed in race one, got a concussion, and couldn't race in race two. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that was rough as well. In
yeah.
race two,
Alex Palou, uh, Joseph Newgarden got terribly unlucky with cautions twice. He recovered from the first one, couldn't quite recover from the second one. Um, but because of that, Alex Palou managed to kind of back his way into an oval win, his second oval win of the year. Seventh win in his first 12 races is the best start to a season in a long time, actually, I think. Um, but really, just what can you say at this point with Palou? He's good, he's lucky. That's a scary combination.
yeah. Um, and again, a pit stop went awry for Newgarden that, again, kind of cost him a little bit. Yes, the untimely caution screwed him more, but again, he had a terrible pit stop again for the second race in a row. That probably would have helped him a little more if the tire guy could get the freaking tire on. Uh, and again, it was the back right again for the second race in a row. The first race one and race two, the back right gave him troubles on the pit stop. And they were
But aren't
fine
you
pit stop wise every other race. Like every other part of the race, every other pit stop, they were fine. It's just the final pit stop of the race, the back right tire was so bad.
I'd argue even without that, there's only so much he could do to recover from being basically with the timing of the cautions, which twice was
Yeah.
right after his pit stops.
Yeah.
There's not really a whole lot of recovering from being sent to the back of the field twice,
Yeah,
right?
that is fair. But
Even though
again, a
the
bad
back of the
pit
field
stop.
is like 13th, but
Yeah. But it just he should have had two. My prediction this week was Newgarden would win both. And
mm,
I should have
tough.
been right. I should have got a perfect weekend.
I would have probably made the same picks as you. I obviously was away with no internet.
Yeah.
At the time of last weekend's races, I was in
Yeah.
Greenland. But made the most of being back here, watched every minute of racing we got over the weekend. Um, so gearing up to kick your ass next week.
Oh God, please don't. And let's get on to our race predictions real quick. Who do you have at Xfinity at Dover, Jack?
Yeah, so the NASCAR Xfinity and Cup Series are both at Dover this weekend, and I feel like at Dover, I've got to go with the veterans here. So I've got Justin Allgaier.
And I got Connor Zilic because you literally cannot stop this man at this point. Like he is so good. And I have Zilic. Who do you have for the
Who's ready
cup?
for a Sheldon Creed win instead?
No,
Um,
Jack, you can try the Sheldon Creed win all you want. It's not happening. Like I promise you, it's not happening.
okay,
Um,
fine, Sam Mayer. Um, Cup Series at Dover, I have Denny Hamlin, who's been pretty good here historically, I think, as far as things
so
go.
I have Watermelon Man, aka Ross Chastain,
Ooh,
because
let
he's
me
the
find the
highest
hat.
finish. Yeah, you need to find the hat. Because he's the highest finish in the past couple of years at Dover. The highest was actually Truex, but he's no longer racing, so at least full
That's the
time.
thing.
So he's yeah,
This would have been a true X weekend for me,
yeah.
but um, so I went with his teammate and another strong driver here, and Denny Hamlin.
Who do you have for IndyCar at the Toronto Street Course?
The Toronto Street Course. Well, I think I'll maybe spoil your pick, or if you want to tell us who your pick is, because I
I have Alex Palou to win 8 out of 13. It's a street course. You can't count him out. Literally, like genuinely, if you're not picking Alex Palou every weekend, you're kind of doing it wrong at this point because he is so good. God, I love Alex Palou. I know we share the same first name, so I gotta back him.
and in response to that, pick Scott Dixon because of drivers that have done well. I mean, Herta's run really well in Toronto. Um, like for Andretti, you've had some other guys run decently well, but really it's pretty consistently Pillow and Dixon the last like 4 or 5 years that have run, in the top four at Toronto. And so based on that consistency and based on their current form, if Pillow's gone, I'm gonna go with Dixon.
And that's fair. You can never count out Scott Dixon. I forget how.
Exactly.
I forget how. Oh shoot, what's his name? What's the guy who switched from F1 to IndyCar this year?
Erickson?
No,
No,
no, he's a
he's been
commentator.
switched.
Buxton,
Oh, Will
Will
Buxton?
Buxton.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you meant driver. I'm like, Erickson's
No,
the
no,
only
no.
one
I
I
meant
got,
I
but
meant the
he's been there.
announcer. Bro, Will Buxton like fudged up the "you can never count out Scott Dixon" line, and it was really funny. I need to figure out what he said, and that's what I'm gonna say from now on. But yeah, you can never count out Scott Dixon. Let's get to our main story. We have: is Max Verstappen leaving for Mercedes, or is firing Horner keeping him at Red Bull? Let's discuss.
Yeah, I don't think that it's decided one way or another. Um, I think that it did not help Horner's case that Verstappen's camp, minus Verstappen seemingly. Max himself didn't really seem to want him gone, but his family certainly did. But that may have been in part to appease Max and to try to lure him to stay back, give him more control, all of that. But I'm not convinced that they're actually that related.
Do you know what would be really funny?
What?
Okay, I'm gonna cross sports real quick. You know how Aaron Rodgers held the Green Bay Packers captive for many years?
Oh, for sure.
This is Max Verstappen keeping Red Bull captive for many years.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has every ounce of leverage. He has dragged a team that is worse than their sister team, car-wise, to like competing week in and week out for basically years. I mean, Sergio Perez was about as good of a driver as you can get to team up with Verstappen, and even then, he couldn't hold a candle. Like Yuki right now is worse than Lawson is in the V car or the
Yeah,
RB or whatever it is this year.
it's racing bulls, I guess. I don't
Um,
know. It changes
like
every week at this point.
and at some point you can argue that it was time for Horner to go. I mean, they were historically dominant, but a lot of that is Max, right? Teammates just haven't been there. There's been really questionable driver management, really questionable car development. It's kind of undeniable that the sister team is like faster, right? That
Yeah,
in the case of you now have two drivers of evidence because they swapped positions. But in both cases, like Lawson is outperforming Yuki now after switching, much like Yuki was outperforming Lawson before the switch,
yeah. But also
right?
Yuki, to be fair to Lawson, Yuki wasn't really outperforming him by much. Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
he had like two points when they switched. Like, it wasn't.
Lawson didn't finish a race.
Well, he did. It just wasn't inside the top 10 or anywhere near it.
It was only two races, right? Um,
Yeah, it was. One of them he
but like
crashed.
Yuki was qualifying, like we didn't even realize how incredible Hadjar. Obviously, it was because it was a rough first race for him too. But like Hadjar didn't really stand out because Yuki was doing well in that RB too, right?
No, to be fair, Hadjar has been outperforming is whoever he's racing with the entire time. Other than Australia, he has been completely dominating. Like, he dominated Yuki, and he's dominating Lawson at this point.
I don't know if you can call it domination if there's one race body of work. If you're excluding
I
one of the
mean,
two races they had together,
he, I mean domination as he
but
with comparing to Yuki. I mean, he had a lot. Unless it was in the wet, he had a lot more pace than Yuki overall. He
I
just
am not necessarily sure I agree, but that's okay. Um, what really mostly matters is that Yuki has been atrocious in the Red Bull. Um, Worse than anyone to date that's been paired with Max. Um, Although I think that you can go in and maybe compare that, like as in relative to Max's points, and see what the difference might be. Um, but this year especially, it's really sticking out a lot of the issues at Red Bull and how much Max is kind of a band-aid for them. It, yeah, what's up?
All right, the one race that they showed together was the Chinese Grand Prix. Isaac Hadjar finished P14, 78 seconds off of first. Yuki Tsunoda, 19th, one lap down.
Yeah, and there were extenuating circumstances there, much like Hadjar binned it in Australia.
All I'm saying, Isaac Hadjar is the truth.
Okay. I don't disagree. I think he's been really strong as a
What
rookie.
what I find really funny is Yuki's home track was literally the only good race he's had with Red Bull. He finished 12th. That's the only good race he's had. He's finished like bottom five every race since.
Yeah.
Or DNF.
It is rough.
Yeah, it's really funny though. I mean, hopefully, so people who don't know, Laurent McKees, who is Racing Bull's, the sister team, Racing Bull's team principal, got moved to Red Bull. And then Alan Perma, or Alan Alan Permain got moved to team principal of Racing Bulls. He was their race director prior to getting moved up. So, for people who don't know who they are, let's just start with Racing Bulls while I'm on the wiki. Permain started out at Benetton, then he went to Renault, then he went to Lotus, then went back to Renault, then went to then he went to Alpine, and then went to Vija Kashyap RBF1 team, and then he became the team principal of Vija Kashyap RBF1 team. Laurent McKees started out in F1 with Arrow. Well, he first started out in Formula 3. Then he went to F1 working for Arrows, then Minardi. Then he went to Scuderia Toro Rosso. Then he went to Scuderia Ferrari for a while. And then now he went to RB Formula 1 team as the team principal. And then now he's the Red Bull Racing team principal. So both guys have a lot of experience in Formula 1. McKees has been in F1 since 2001. Permain has been in F1 since 1989. So, there's that. There's those two guys. I think this is really good for Red Bull. I think getting a new start with a team principal is good. Again, I think Horner should have been let go 18 freaking months ago when the allegations were confirmed to be true. But you'll never get that in the sporting world, sadly. At least not right now.
Yeah.
Especially when you have football players, soccer players, baseball players, basketball players, all doing heinous things and not facing any repercussions. So
Yeah, it's frustrating.
oh, it is.
And it's frustrating to have it, you know. You almost think that if it was not 18 months ago, and if that stuff happened now, they wouldn't think twice about letting him go. But performance makes you invincible, and that's why people do things like that. You know,
Yeah.
like that
And it's stupid. It's dumb.
power
Because
dynamics.
if you do something heinous, you deserve to be facing the repercussions. You shouldn't be let off so easily. Like, I'm just going to pull a football example. Henry Ruggs was going, 130 miles an hour down a road that was, 35? Struck
Hmm.
another car, killed the woman in the car and her dog. Was supposed to be sentenced to, 30 years or something like that. And got let off scot-free and wants to make a comeback in the NFL.
I mean, for sports example, you don't even need to look further than like Kobe Bryant. He's still idolized,
Fair. That is fair. You really can.
and
Or
that's if
like,
you're talking about winning for Christian Horner, you're in the midst of one of the most dominant driver constructor seasons in history, and you become unfortunately untouchable.
yeah. I'm glad he's gone though. He really deserved to be
Yeah.
gone. I think everyone thinks that except for maybe the minority. I think the majority is very happy that he's gone. I am too.
Well, I think it's also slash, mainly for performance reasons at this point. There's definitely some personality aspect because he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. He had power struggles with a lot of people at Red Bull, but the team just isn't there. If you get beat out by a team that's specifically designed to be worse, you're doing so many things wrong. As far as
Like,
like the Red Bull second seat versus the two like RB cars.
yeah, let me just put this into perspective for the people who are like, oh, they're not really supposed to be worse. RB is just a sister team. Literally, after I believe, I don't remember what year it was. It was a year that Red Bull was super dominant. And so it was in the last like 4 years. RB was literally set to get the exact same car as Red Bull Racing from the previous year. That was what was supposed to be happening. Like but the RB is supposed to be bad compared to Red Bull, and they're not. Now, if you look at the constructors title, you might think otherwise, as Red Bull are in fourth and Racing Bulls are in seventh. Red Bull has 172 points. Racing Bulls has 36. I'm pretty sure Max Verstappen has like 170 points himself. So, let me actually fact check this. 165 by
Yeah,
himself. So 7 points are to the second driver.
Ajar and Lawson both have more points than Yuki does
Yes.
individually.
Yep. Yeah. So,
If you put Max in an RB, like he's doing the same thing.
dog, he might win the championship at that point. Like, what? Yo,
It's
if you ever wanted to
absurd.
sack a driver mid-season, sack Max Verstappen and put him in the RB. He's winning races. Damn it.
But as
Um.
far as Max's future goes, because we got a lot on the Horner side of things. I think the rumor is his jet's in Sardinia as we're talking to supposedly meet
Yeah.
with like Mercedes people there. But
Yeah.
I can't see it. Like I'm happy to be proven wrong. It's what Toto has wanted for ever, right?
Even though he's had
Um,
Lewis.
but Max has Red Bull like it fully in his control, kind of, especially with Horner gone now. Like Max is Red Bull. And I think that as a team, unless Max really has no faith in the people there and the future of the organization, it makes sense for both sides to keep that u union going and keep investing in, they're making their own engine, right, with Ford.
Yep.
Um, Although, they already have RBPT with the remnants of the Honda stuff, but um, like they have all these things on the way, and yes, they've lost some people, but at some point, it would feel so wrong to see that happen.
Yeah. I think also like George has been doing really well, and George is also definitely able to win a world championship if given the car. Um, I get wanting Max Verstappen, but I don't get actually putting pen to paper with Max Verstappen. I've made a
I,
video about this, and I was like in the video I was like, well, Kimmy's gonna be screwed over because Mercedes is gonna need to make the car to suit Max because that's what Max wants. And a lot of
oh,
people were like, no, the car isn't suited for Max. The car is suited for both drivers. Or they would say, oh, Max didn't want the car to like the way it is. Like Red Bull wanted the car the way it is. Well, no, both are not true. The car isn't suited to the second driver. The car is suited to Max and then kind of suited to the second driver. Max gets priority the entire time.
well,
Secondly,
you wouldn't do it any other way.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
any team would bend over backwards to sign Max Verstappen, and the reason that the car is suited to Max is because he can wrangle these cars that are super unstable and get faster lap times that way. They're not
Yeah.
suiting it to Max so much as they're making it faster, but by making it faster, they're making it super twitchy and super unstable
Hmm.
in a way that only he can drive it fast. But
And
like,
that's why I said if Mercedes sign him and they think that he's just gonna sit there and let them build it for both drivers, they're dead wrong.
because
Because Max will not win that way. You will not win that way with Max.
like he can. if it's the best car on
He
the grid.
can.
But for Max to have the
Exactly.
skill gap
But
that he has is because he can wrangle these cars that are otherwise like impossible.
yeah, but my opinion is if Max goes to Mercedes, say goodbye to Kimi because he's not lasting that long.
Yeah, I think that whoever I definitely believe that all of the stuff saying that they'd pair George and Max are mostly to appease George because I think that, you look at history and you look at who Max is, and I don't think you find it worth it as a team to not have a clear second driver. Like to
Yeah,
pretend that you're still treating George the way that he would deserve to be treated. And I think if you're George, I
yeah.
think you see that too, and you try to go elsewhere.
Also, you got rid of Lewis for the next supposed Max Verstappen, and then you're going to ruin his career by signing Max Verstappen.
I will say that like I think that the Lewis thing, based on a lot of what Mercedes said about it, they expected Lewis to leave at some point. I don't think they expected it to be to Ferrari, nor do I think they expected it to be now. Um, it did seem like a bit
The
of a
way
surprise
Toto
to them.
was talking though kind of made it seem like Lewis had one foot out the door already. Like didn't matter what he thought. Because here's the thing, Lewis was offered a 1 year contract, so he was under contract for this season, and then he's gone anyway. So Kimi would have joined next season. So either
Yeah,
way, Lewis isn't here long term for the car for the new regulations. It wouldn't have made sense for Lewis to stay, right? So you bring in
I
Kimi, who is allegedly the next Max Verstappen, and then you're going to go through a Max with him and ruin his career. Max can try to help him all he wants. The car still is very hard to drive for anyone but Max, no matter how hard you try to help him. Like it's not.
Yeah, the only way it wouldn't be hard to drive is if it is already the fastest car
Yeah,
without making it unstable in the name of getting a few extra tenths.
yeah. Like if you can make allegedly Mercedes has the best 2026 car for regulations, but I really don't know how true that is, and I don't believe that at all. So, because
But
they're
yeah,
still focusing on the 25 car. So, I don't believe that their car is the best. I think they're just saying that people are just saying that to say it, at least right now.
yeah. If it does happen, what a blockbuster announcement. But
Oh, yeah.
in the meantime, leverage is leverage. And if you're Max, I don't know how you leave Red Bull.
Yeah. I agree.
Unless he's
I
seen
agree.
early results from next year's car and the new engine and all of that, and he wants to jump off a sinking ship. But that doesn't
Would
seem
that.
to be the case.
No, I don't believe that's the case. Also, wouldn't that technically just be tampering like that? Is that like allowed in F1 to like show results? Like,
No, like from Red Bull's own development for next year. I'm sure the drivers can
oh,
have access
okay.
to.
No, yeah, I thought you meant Mercedes was showing Max their
Oh,
development. I was like, okay, that's
no, no,
not.
no. That
Okay,
might be
yeah, then that makes
allowed
sense.
in some way, but there's a reason that they'd be meeting in like a random place in Italy instead of meeting at like Mercedes headquarters, right?
Yeah,
Because he's still a competitor, and you
yeah.
don't, even if you're negotiating, you don't do that until there's
It's
pen to
like
paper.
Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford when they were in Mexico together. Just saying. Uh, anyway, that's all we have for today's podcast.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any closing remarks, Jack?
Um, Missed a couple F1 races. Really sad. Turns out cannot watch YouTube TV in Iceland,
Damn,
and there was
you
no
should have.
way to watch F1 on a cruise ship.
Damn, the British Grand Prix was pretty
So
fun. You missed a whole
yeah, it
podium.
was. I followed from my phone. I was using like the live updates on the F1 app, but I'm in Connecticut now. Next time you see me next week, I will be back at my normal background in Pittsburgh. Um, and we'll be rocking and rolling. No more
Hell
travel
yeah!
planned. So this should be the last of my random disappearances for
I
a
do have
while.
travel plans, but I will
But
bring my
you
computer
do.
and my mic.
I don't.
Yeah,
And I
I have
certainly
travel
won't be going
plans.
to a foreign country where I don't have internet access enough to record a podcast.
Yeah, I'm staying in the U.S., so I'm just gonna bring my mic and set up, and I'll be with that. So
But Iceland was
podcast
lovely.
next week.
I got a wool hat. It's
Hell
great.
yeah, hell yeah. We'll have to live. Anyway,
Oh
thank you
yeah.
guys for watching. This is Apex to Oval, and have an amazing day.
See ya.